Greetings, everyone. Welcome to the IPA Interview Series here we're doing today. And with me, I don't know if it's good or bad, IPA Hall of Famer, polka impresario, Keith Stras.
Wow. Hello, Rick. How are you?
Isn't that what you told me to say?
Yes, that's just how I wrote it out for you. You read the prompter very well.
Well, this is going to be a very un-interview-like interview.
Right. We like to ad-lib.
We like to ad-lib, yes. So, Keith, the old basic beginning story here. How did you get started into the polka business?
Well, Rick, I'll tell you, it's probably different from what you've heard from most of the Hall of Famers. I wasn't in this music. I wasn't born into it. Nobody in my family listened to it. I just, at a young age, at about, I'd say, if I can remember, probably 9 or 10, took a liking to the music. Why? I don't know. I mean, maybe it's because when we used to watch the Lawrence Welk show, and Myron used to come on there and play the polka. I remember my grandparents once in a while dancing in the front room. I don't know. I just took a liking to the music, and our family owned some property up near Gurnee, where for those in the Chicagoland area, where the Six Flags amusement park is. And we took a ride one day after the winter season to clean out I guess people used to throw things in lots, like tires and stuff like that. And we took a ride out there, and there was a remote broadcast from Polonia Grove on WTAQ radio. And for those of you that don't know, I'm not 100% Polish. I'm half Polish and half Italian. And we were with my Italian...
So you're a pogo?
Yeah, we were with my Italian grandfather, and he said, listen to this live radio show. He said that the people are hooting and hollering and having a great time. And when I heard that music from that day on, something just, and I used to listen to it. I used to find that station, 1300, all the way up on the right side of the dial. And my parents used to say, why do you like that music? You don't even know what they're saying. It's in a different language. I said, I don't know. It's just something about the beat. And then, in the 6th grade, I remember taking clarinet lessons. And I remember seeing a clarinet in the polka band and polka bands and stuff like that. And then, my folks would go out on a weekend, and my dad's folks lived down the block from us, so I'd spend the weekend by my grandparents, and they'd put on the Chet Galinsky show on Sunday morning. They'd listen to it, and I used to beg my grandparents, take me to a dance, You
mean smiling? Chet Galinsky?
So I remember, my dad grew up not too far away from Pulaski Village on 19th and Cullum is where he lived. And then he moved to the north side. He went to Weber High School, so he was that was very young in his age. My grandfather worked at Edward Hines Lumber Company, which was directly across the street from Wojnak's Casino on Blue Island Avenue. And when they moved to the north side, my grandfather used to say, all that polka stuff is all on the south side. That's where we moved away from. We don't want to go back there. We're up here on the north side, So I remember going to Club Antoinette. They used to have fish fries on a Friday. And it was a big, long bar. And then there was a hall in the back. And I remember seeing Eddie and the Versatones performing. And I used to bring my little cassette tape recorder and put it by the band and listen to them. And then I remember my father had a business. He installed gas grills and lights, gas lights. And he did a job for a guy called Whitey Starmack in Schaumburg. That's where I grew up, in Schaumburg. And he found out Whitey used to play maracas and whistles and tambourines with the Ampolaires. And he told Whitey, he said, my father's name was Whitey too, kind of strange. He said, my kid is just crazy about this music. So my first 3 LP albums came from Mr. Polka Rhythm, Walter Whitey Starmack. It was the Untouchables of polka music, I remember, one of the 47th Street Concertina Club albums, and polka concerts. So that's going back to around 1974, 75. Now, I started high school at that time, and there was a radio station in the high school, and they asked me if I would be interested in broadcasting on the radio station. And if you drove outside of the perimeter of the high school, you couldn't hear the station. So that's just a low-grade station,
Yeah.
you know. And then when we would transfer in the hallways during periods, there would be announcements and music that they would put on during the 5 minutes that you would go from classroom. And I would do those announcements and play music. Well, I started playing polka music. Well, I can tell you, I almost got strung up because the kids, they said, what the heck is this guy playing? This is stuff that my grandparents listened to. We don't want to listen to this. We want to listen to Led Zeppelin and whatever else was on at the time, you know.
I remember the first time we met you, and I'm sure you do too.
Yes, I do. Yeah.
Was the IPA ran a polka for teens dance at Weber High School in the gym. And the music company played and wasn't very well attended. And lo and behold, here comes this skinny guy with a big nose walking in and with a group of kids. And that's when we met you. We brought you up on stage to sing. We're still sorry. But it was the first time we met you. And then we developed a friendship and an association with different radio things and different promotions and stuff, which you were, back in the day, we still are, but back then you were even more involved. You ran more events and dances and...
yeah, I would put, if I had to put a year on that, Rick, I think it was around 1976 or 77.
Yeah.
And I had a group that I formed with high school friends, about, I don't know, 15, 20 of us, call it the SPA, the Schaumburg Polka Association. And I used to print a little newsletter, and we used to go out, you know, the group of us. And we had a great time, a lot of fun, a lot of laughs. As a matter of fact, you know, since the innovation of Facebook, the guys that we palled around with in high school and the gals, they can't believe that I've accomplished everything I have in the poker field, because back then it was just something to screw around and have some fun with.
I mean, then we went on to, you know, hang out, different things, and then you got on... I believe your first program was, you were Little Richard.
Right, right. The thing is that I remember, for those of you that grew up in Chicago, we used to go home for lunch. There was you used to go home for lunch and then come back to school. And of course, when you grew up in Chicago, Bozo Circus was the big thing on television, on Channel 9. It lasted 40 years on Chicago television. It was the most popular kid show. Well, I remember going there at 5 years old and becoming enamored with the lights and the sounds and the band and everything. And ever since I was there, the only thing I ever wanted to do was be on television and be on radio. And wanted to be, of all things, a ringmaster. Which led up to 1981, they had a national audition for ringmasters for Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus. And I went to the International Amphitheater, which is gone now, back on Halstead and, I don't know, 45th maybe?
43rd, 44th, yeah.
And went and auditioned for it, and I got a call back. When I got the letter in the mail, the call back, my mother and father basically forbid me, because they said, listen, you're not going to go live on a train, because that's how the circus people lived. You weren't going to live with gypsies, with all these foreigners. No, you're not going to become a ringmaster. So the next best thing was I got on polka radio, I guess. I don't remember how all that evolved, but yeah, I wrote to Little Richard and I said, Rich, I'd like to have one of your LPs for my radio show. And he says, well, what radio station are you on? I said, well, I'm on a high school radio station. He said, well, how would you like to be on a real radio station? So I said, well, sure. What does it entail? You know, he said, well, you got to get some sponsors, and then, you know, I'll split my show. You could do the first half hour, and then if I can't make it because I'm performing out of town, I'll let you do the whole show. I didn't know anything about turning knobs or cart machines or pods or anything at the time. So he gave me the opportunity, and very fortunately, I had a number of relatives that were in business. I had an uncle that owned a bakery. I had an uncle that owned a sewing machine store. I had an aunt that was in the real estate business. So it was something that I could ask my relatives to donate to, and then, you know, support me on the air. So that's how that happened. And then I stayed with Richard for about probably 2 years, and then I went off on my own, because, you know, it was like, if you wanted to plug something else that somebody was doing, Richard kind of frowned upon it because it was his show, which I kind of get, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But I wanted to, you know, promote polka music for everyone, not just for one entity. So I went off on my own after I left Little Richard. We were on the very first station I was on was WONX 1590. From Evanston. And I couldn't drive. My father used to have to drive me from Schaumburg to Evanston, which for those of you in the Chicago, it's about 40 miles one way. So he used to drive me, I used to do the show. And then my next move was WBMX, which was the old WOPA in the Oak Park Arms Hotel, 1490. I had a show on at 4:30 in the afternoon, right before the Eddie Carosa show from the Baby Doll Polka Club, which emanated from 7315 Western Avenue. Back in the day. And I was opposite Ann Pshola, who was on WTAQ. She was on after Johnny Hisney. So a lot of people listened to Johnny, and then WTAQ had a whole block of shows on. So it was kind of hard for me to get any listeners at that point. And then I started palling around at the IPA. Emily Pinner more or less got me involved in the IPA. She asked me to be the MC for the Queen contest. The very first one I was at the Red Carpet Hotel in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. When on a Saturday night, I kid you not, this may be hard for you to believe, but there were close to 5,000 people in that expo hall on a Saturday night dancing the polka music. I remember the Merzinski brothers had a big blimp. They were flying around the hall. So then that's how I became involved with the IPA, and then I went on the IPA radio show, which is on WTAQ with Chet Schaefer, Jerry Drust, and Leon Kazicki. We were on at noon on Saturday afternoon. And then some time opened up on WTAQ, and a friend of mine from high school, Jeff Chester, and I teamed up, and we were on at 5 o'clock in the afternoon on Saturday, and we called that the Polka Review Show. And then I wanted to get involved in running dances and events and things of that nature. So it was kind of a natural thing to put the promotions with the radio show. And
I remember playing some dances for you. Yeah. Sometimes we got paid, sometimes we didn't. But it was all fun.
The very first event I ran was at Wojciech's Casino. We had 3 bands. It was the Downtown Sound.
Out in the Grove.
Right. Downtown Sound, Windy City Brass, and the Chicago Push, 1981. And we ran it in conjunction with the Chet Galinsky Show, Jeff Chester and I. And I laugh about this now, but at the time it was kind of frightening. We had a handshake agreement, nothing in writing. Chet and Chris and Jeff and Keith were going to run this event, and if we lose money, well, we're each going to have to put money out of our pockets. And if we make money, it's going to be 50-50 down the middle. Well, we had a tremendous crowd. We had 3 of the hottest bands in Chicago. We had people, the Grove was mobbed. 300-400 people on a Saturday afternoon into evening. And we made a lot of money. And then when it came down to splitting up who made what, Galinsky came around and said, well, you know, I got 5 hours of radio and I need to be paid for my... Well, Jeff Chester got a little upset. Jeff Chester kind of got out of the picture for a while. And then I was by myself. And then I was with some Dave Danzig, I remember. And then some other time opened up. And it was on a Tuesday night. And I said, you know, why can't we do a show on a Tuesday night? At one time, polka music was on all the time on the air in Chicago. So I started with Danny Matea. Danny Matea and I... well, actually, before we went to that, Lenny Gomulka approached me, and Lenny said that he started the band, the Chicago Push, and since Jeff was out of the picture, he wanted to know if he could go on the air with me on that 5 o'clock slot. So I said, sure. So we changed the name to Chicago Push Polka Time, and Lenny and I were on the air together on WTAQ for a long time, probably 2.5 years. And that's when I bought the time on Tuesday nights. And Danny Matea and I were together.
That was WTAQ in LaGrange.
Right.
The 1300 spot, the lucky 1300 spot on your radio dial.
Right. We started that broadcast, and it was the only show that was on during the week, I remember. And that's when you became more and more a part of our team. You used to come and answer the phones.
Yep.
And then we used to go to White Castle and the bowling alleys
Bowling alley
afterwards.
afterward, yeah. And that one time when you got pulled over by the police and didn't have your license.
I worked downtown, and I, for some reason I left my wallet at home, and I drove all the way from downtown to LaGrange, and then I got stopped in Indian Head Park for speeding, and I had no license. He had to come and bail me out.
He calls me, you got to come and get me. I'll see you tomorrow.
Bails me out of the Hoosgow over there.
I said, how much? No, I ain't got that money. We were going to leave him overnight. His father said to leave him overnight. But
So that's when you and I came, and I don't remember what happened after that. I remember I held some other contracts for Timmy O and Jerry Mittek were on the air on Friday nights. That was the polka warm-up show, and there was somebody else. I think Al Jelinek was on with somebody, and then we started branching out, and at one time I had close to 6 hours of radio time on WTAQ. So then I'm going to be, I'm in the polka field now for, 3, 4, 5 years, and I know everything I need to know about running stuff. So I'm going to run the big Labor Day Spectacular at the Sheridan O'Hare Inn. And needless to say, I'll tell you what, I went out to Seven Springs, and I was exposed to that crowd and to that event. And I said, wow, this is something else. I couldn't believe it. As a matter of fact, that's the very first time I met Jimmy Sturr. Emily Pinter and some other people introduced me to Sturr. And one thing about Sturr, heck of a businessman, because by the time I got home from Seven Springs, there was a letter in my mailbox saying it was nice to meet you and good luck to you in your future endeavors from Sturr.
little did he know.
Yeah, right, exactly. So anyway, I'm going to run this big event. Well, unfortunately, it wasn't
so big.
It wasn't so big, and it wasn't a success. So I had, 10 or 12 bands on a Labor Day weekend in Chicago, and then for some reason I forgot that the Taste of Polonia Festival used to run the same weekend, and that was free admission. And here I am running at a hotel, and I had, I think 10 or 12 bands. I had Little Wally, I had the Ampolaires, I had Bruno Mikos, Wanda and Stephanie. I had a big array of entertainment, and lost a lot of money. And so I bowed out of running stuff for a while, and about 3 or 4 months I was off the air. And then I think we met up somewhere along the line and got back together again.
Yep. That's when we went to the Migawa station, right?
Well, no, before that we went to WEAW.
Oh, EAW and VVX.
Right. We were the very first, Rick and I were the very first guys that had a polka show on FM radio. Okay.
Yep. So I know the VVX thing, that was kind of interesting. And
yeah, we were the first guys
what was that? WEAW, that was like a Christian music station.
Yeah, it was a Christian music station.
We were on that one for a while.
We were on that one for a while. And what happened was WTAQ was sold and displaced everybody.
Yeah.
Nobody knew where to go. And WOPA was sold to WBMX. That went all black for a while. And then eventually WPNA, or the Polish National Alliance, bought WOPA. And we were there for 1 week, I believe.
Yeah, we won't get into that. There was a lot of rumors as to why,
yeah,
but none of it was true.
Yeah, right, exactly.
They offered it to 2 different people at the same time, and the other people were around longer than us, so they gave it to them anyway. Then we went to CEV.
WCEV, and I'll tell you, that's when I think that you and I, for whatever reason, we exploded on the Chicago polka scene, because we had a listenership. We were on a Wednesday. They had shows every day: Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Drive time, they called it. Monday was Yashinsky and Owens, and Tuesday was Tarka. Wednesday was us. Johnny Hisney was on Thursday, and Eddie and Tish were on Friday.
Yeah.
And we really, the two of us together, just the way that we worked, we were like, I don't know if I can correlate it with Abbott and Costello or Art Carney and Jackie Gleason, or he would say something and I would say something, and it was just natural. We didn't have anything scripted. We came up with these crazy contests, and we also caught the attention of the I guess you could call it national media or Chicago mainstream media. We were on WGN. We were written up in the Sun-Times. The Tribune did a big piece on us. And I guess that's, what kind of catapulted the career. And then I went off into television.
Well, we had a lot of fun at that time with the Bozos Grand March for Kids. We were on that. polka. We ran it. You ran a Christmas dance party show.
Santa's
every
holiday
year.
review. Yeah, we ran a
People
lot
would bring
of
in
stuff.
toys, and we'd bring in baskets and buckets and boxes full of toys. And we were on WGN with Bozo and them, Fraser, Cookie, and
Yeah, well, I mean, it
and
was
then
just,
you went to television.
Yeah, then I went on. Ron Yashinsky asked me to do a New Year's Eve show. They were doing a live New Year's Eve show from the Mayfield Banquets here in Chicago.
From Mayfield's.
And it was live on New Year's Eve. The only thing happening in the whole Chicagoland area on television. If you could, New York's got the big ball drop. Well, that was the big thing. And then from there, they purchased the ETT station, and they asked me to come on. And I'll tell you, in 1991, when my dear friend Ned Locke passed away, I did a TV special, and I got the Emmy Award. I mean, who would have thought that a polka show would have received an Emmy Award?
Yeah.
And then the next thing was the Hall of Fame for me. Of course, I became.
What year was that? What year did you get inducted?
In the Hall of Fame?
Yes.
1999.
1999.
Yeah, the Emmy Award was in 91. The Hall of Fame was in 99. The Broadcasters Hall of Fame, 2005. We went to Los Angeles three times
Grammys.
for the Grammys to pick up the Grammys for Stir, who couldn't make it.
That was a heck of a trip.
I
What
used to
good
do a
time
lot of
that was.
MC work for Eddie Blazonczyk here in Chicago. A lot of promotions for Eddie.
You were MC for Eddie's Christmas show that
Right.
ran 20 years, I think. 19 or 20 years, yeah.
And then I put together the 20th anniversary of the Versatones. You can see that on YouTube. Then I was the MC for the 25th. And
One of the funniest times I remember on WCEV, you had the bright idea of let's go down on the street.
Man on the Street
Man on
interview.
the street. So I brought a 100-foot mic cord because we didn't have wireless mics or anything at the time. We hang the wire out the window, and there's Stras walking around on Belmont and Central interviewing people. Had no idea what he was talking about. The car wash was right across the
Right,
street, and here's Stras. Oh, and the cash call, we caught a lady in the bathtub.
Yeah.
I'm not going to mention her name.
Oh, there's a lot of things. But I'll tell you what I'm probably most proud of, Rick. Of course, the awards are great, the accolades that you get from your peers and everything. But I think that the thing that most is gratifying to me is that you and I, and I know all this through my entire career, is that we made ourselves what we are through hard work. And what can I say? We went and pounded the pavement. We got people to believe in what we did, and they paid money for us to be on the air. Now
Getting
today
sponsors, that wasn't easy. That was tough time.
the IPA show is paid for by the IPA. The IPA writes a check every month. There were times that we were in our pockets. We ran dances to pay for our expenses.
I remember the big one that saved us.
Yeah. Polka with the Stars.
Polka with the Stars.
Little Wally showed up.
500 people at Polonia, at least 500 people
On a
at
Wednesday
Polonia
night.
on a
Yeah.
Wednesday night.
Yeah, it
That
was unbelievable.
Amazing. Wally showed up and he didn't want to get off the stage.
Yeah. But it's just.
And then he was looking for his money. There's no money.
It was just things. It's things like that really really make this all worthwhile. And the people.
And now, of course, you got the Polka Jammer Network that you're
Yeah.
on the board. You're
Yeah.
the secretary?
Yes, I
You
am.
don't
the
even know how to
secretary.
spell. How do you pull that one off?
Spell check.
Spell check. Yeah.
But it's.
Yeah, you've done a ton of things. I look back to the things that I've done throughout the years, but this guy Stras, let me tell you, he's Barnum, Bailey, and Stras. We used to always say.
Yeah, P.T. Stras they used to call me.
P.T.
Yeah, and he used to come up with
Unbelievable.
with events and things and like the game shows that you watched here during the IPA virtual weekend.
I remember going to Hawaii with you and Branson and
Yeah. Oh, we've done so much.
Remember Hawaii?
Everything revolved around polka music,
Yep.
and it was it's been a great run.
the narrow escapes.
Yeah.
Remember the elevator got clogged up and people were falling? Narrow
right.
escape. The funniest part of that was me at the time, probably 360 at least, flipping over the side of the escalator, getting down to the bottom and pulling people out. And then finally,
Stash Golunka.
we couldn't find the button to turn the escalator off. Oh, that was something.
But I think as I look back, 44 years in this business, I don't think there's anything else I can achieve other than to just keep doing the broadcast and helping out with different organizations and things of that nature.
And now, of course, you're affiliated with Mr. Stir and the
Yeah, Jimmy Stir. I've been on. I think it's close to 20 years. I've been emceeing for him on television and
cruises. And
the cruises and things of that nature. And it's been a great run. I'm probably never gonna like Eddie Blazonczyk used to say. I made enough money in polka music as long as to retire on, as long as I die next week.
Yeah.
But think of the tours and the places. Who would have thought that I'd ever walk the red carpet in Los Angeles for the Grammy Awards?
Yeah. Or
get an Emmy Award for a polka television show, or be inducted into the Hall of Fame, the Broadcasters Hall of Fame. So it's been a great 44 years, and I have to thank the people, because if you didn't buy tickets to my dances, you didn't go on my tours, you didn't listen to my shows, where would I be? I mean, I owe it all
You'd
to
be
you
in
folks.
Schaumburg.
That's right, exactly. And the relationships over the years, like the relationships with you and the Blazonczyks and the Stirs and everybody that I've met over the years. It's a great feeling when you live in Chicago and you can go as far away as California or as far east as New York City, and people know you by name and know you by face. It's a great feeling.
You mentioned Facebook a little earlier. It really comes to light when you look in, your birthday on Facebook and you get all of these messages. It's like, I didn't think I knew that many people, and 90% of those
that just
people
happened. I mean,
are from polkas.
Over 300 people
Yeah.
wishing you a happy birthday. It's unbelievable. And Chet Kovakovsky serenaded you at 7:30 in the morning.
Wow.
I mean, that was that's great.
Yeah.
So it's been a great run, and I have to thank the IPA because I was the president for a couple of years there, and I think that being at the helm of the organization, you know what it's like. And you're only as good as the people that are around you.
Yep, the board.
And those people that were around me at the time, the board, they were such hardworking people. I mean, I had people on their hands and knees in washrooms with toothbrushes, scrubbing the floors. I mean,
well, you just were part of the big virtual IPA fest. Who would have thought that it would ever come to something like that? And a great group of people that worked on that, and you did your polka game shows, and you think, how many people remembered that? That was, 29 years ago?
Yeah, hard to believe.
You revived them somewhat.
I don't think if I ever put them on YouTube, nobody else would have known about it, because it's out of sight, out of mind for so many years.
And I guess that's what triggered it. You put them on YouTube.
I guess so, yeah.
Lindsay,
well, that's great. I'm glad.
Lindsay saw it, and the board and the committee.
I was happy to come back and do it for you.
It was great. What a great time, and we thank you for helping out with that. And,
well, I'm honored that they even asked me to be a part of it. Trust me.
And we do have your blue jacket ready to be put in the Hall of Fame, the Polkapalooza jacket. Yeah. Where'd you get that red sparkly one, by the way? Did they make that in my size?
If they make it in my size, they make it in your size.
Well, we've done a 360 too, because when we first got together, like I said before,
we
Keith
could appear as a number 10 on Sesame Street.
And now it's like it flipped there for a while.
Yeah. Well, I've got to go back down again, but
anyway, you're living life.
Yeah,
you got to enjoy it.
Yeah.
Well, folks,
wait, one thing I've got to say is thank God that I've got the wife and 2 kids that I have, because I don't know who else would put up with the shenanigans that and my folks too.
You mean St. Camille?
My mother used to drive me to acting lessons at Mill Run in Niles. You remember Mill Run?
Mill Run.
I mean, so all this has come full circle, and I never would have achieved anything without their help. So thank God for them as well.
Well, folks, we hope you enjoyed this brief interview. Well, it wasn't much of an interview. Once Stras gets started, he never knows when to stop. But that's okay, because it makes it easier on my part. We'd like to thank Steve Kaminsky for his technical superiority here. And
yes, and the beautiful studio we have here as well.
Looking at the skeletons and the pumpkins and everything. But hey, folks, thank you very much. Hope you have a great week, a great weekend, weekday, week, whatever it is.
And if you're not a member of the IPA, by all means you should be, because it's the only thing that's keeping polka music alive throughout the country, let me tell you.
Go to IPApolkas.com. It's all there, self-explanatory. Become a member and help support polka music. And thank you, Keith.
Thank you, Rick. Always good to be in your company.
Thank you very much, everybody. Have a great day.
So long.